Alan here, Salon Extreme Business Builder from salonpunk.com. So the question is, how do you hire staff during the cost of living crisis? Well, the reality is hiring staff never ever changes, because what you have to really take into account is how much will this new member take or make for the business? Well, you know, what is their break-even point as a member of staff? How will they pay for their own wages? How will they make us profit long term? And how will it affect our reduced income during the cost of living crisis? Well, like I mentioned in other calls, first of all, you have to get your mind into a positive mindset all the time. Try and avoid that negative thought of cost of living crisis. Almost like a manufactured thought to make us think everything's a disaster. And the problem is, when we read that stuff, we start to believe everything is a disaster. So let's look at it this way. If you have a salon and you need to hire someone, you need to really ask yourself, how much is that person going to bring in for me? Well, unfortunately, this brings in lots of other strategies and tactics into the salon business. Because the real question you should be asking is, will that person be busy? Will they have their clients? Will they bring clients? Will I have to find them clients? In other words, will you have to find them the money to bring the money into your salon? So hiring staff during the cost of living crisis really doesn't change, but what does change is that you have to be far more thorough. That means making sure you know your numbers. So let's take an example. If you're paying a member of staff at £350 a week, really they need to be able to take 3 times £350, which is obviously just under £1,000 a week. Or is it just over that? So 350, it's just over £1,000 a week. They need to be taking 3 times that amount to make it worthwhile you employing that person, regardless of there being a cost of living crisis or not. So if you're going to hire someone in the salon and you work out that they will probably take, say, £400 a week to begin with, that means they are costing you money. So when you hire staff during a cost of living crisis, you don't want them to cost you money. You want them to make you more profitable or to bring more money into the salon. So, like I said before, it's a case of knowing the numbers. So really, you need to start off with those other questions, which is, if that person is going to be profitable for me and I'm paying them £350 a week, I need them to take at least 3 times £350 a week right away. So the actual question you have to ask yourself is, despite the fact there's a cost of living crisis, how can I make sure that that member of staff is actually going to take 3 times the amount of what I am paying them? Otherwise, they will cost me money. So you can still hire staff during a cost of living crisis. There's no need to lay people off unless they're sat on their backsides doing nothing. But really what you should be doing is looking at more clever ways, smarter ways to make sure these people are busy, to make sure they pay their way. You know, just off a little bit on that, I worked with so many different salons over the years who they're not happy, but maybe they don't realise, maybe they're a little bit unconscious of the fact that their stylists don't make them any money. So sometimes, rather than employing people from the outside, you can either employ from the inside or you can ignite them from the inside so that they build their columns faster. So if you have somebody who is currently underperforming, maybe you don't really need more staff. Maybe you really need to get them performing at a much higher level, which means different programs in place to make sure they're bringing in more clients. So guys, how do you hire staff during a cost of living crisis? Really, it's just a case of a couple of things. One, make sure you know your numbers. Make sure you're going to bring somebody in that can bring in at least 3 times what you're paying them. And make sure you have a plan. That's it. So this is Alan from salonpunk.com, and we'll speak again soon.